Hello and welcome to the International Daily Roundup by People's Dispatch. We are sorry for an earlier technical glitch and we continue with the major news developments of the day. High drama continues in British politics as Parliament entered its 5-week suspension period until October 14th. Monday saw British Prime Minister Boris Johnson fail to carry a motion for a fresh election as the necessary two-thirds of MPs in the House of Commons did not vote for it. This is the latest defeat suffered by Johnson, who has faced determined opposition from Labour and a revolt within his own party. Meanwhile, the legislation preventing a Brexit without a deal has been passed and has acquired the Queen's assent. This means that unless a proposal is approved by the House of Commons, Brexit may be postponed to January 31st, 2020. Now, this is something Boris Johnson has been fighting hard against, as he's perfectly fine with a no-deal Brexit, which is likely to unleash further chaos across Europe. The proroguing of Parliament at the instigation of the government was reportedly meant to aid a no-deal Brexit, as MPs would not have had enough time to discuss this process. However, the latest legislation may prevent that. The law preventing a no-deal Brexit was passed with the help of 21 Conservative Party rebels who went against their party whip. This was followed by 2 resignations from the cabinet, along with several other high-profile resignations from the ruling Conservative Party. Opposition parties are now demanding for all communications regarding the suspension of the Parliament to be made public and are threatening legal action against the government if it fails to implement the recently passed Brexit amendment. Johnson has repeatedly stated that he will ensure that the UK leaves the EU as scheduled on October 31st and not request an extension. But without a deal in sight and the government not getting the requisite two-thirds majority in the Commons to push for a general election, this task seems quite impossible as of now. On September 9th, pilots in the UK with the British Airways started a 3-day strike demanding decent pay and benefits. The strike, supported by the British Airlines Pilots Association, or BALPA, had forced the authorities to cancel 1,700 flights to and from London's Heathrow and Gatwick airports during 2 days of action. The strike will continue till Tuesday night, and the 3rd day of the strike action is scheduled for September 27th. BALPA pointed out that British Airways was an extremely profitable and successful company, with profits of $2 billion in 2018. They said that the pilots had made sacrifices such as taking a pay cut, seeing productivity increases, and giving up annual leaves, and now deserved a salary hike. The strike ballot of BALPA was approved on the last week of August by an overwhelming 93% of the pilots who took part in the union's vote. Tomorrow is the 116th anniversary of the US-backed coup that overthrew Chile's socialist president Salvador Allende and inaugurated a brutal era of military dictatorship. The regime of Augusto Pinochet that came to power was responsible for thousands of deaths, over 1,200 disappearances, the torture of tens of thousands, and the exile of over 200,000 people. It is likely that these numbers are much more. To this day, many victims have not received justice. On September 8th, in Santiago, 10,000 people marched to the General Cemetery, the largest in the capital, to pay tribute to and demand justice for the victims of the dictatorship. The protesters marched with banners that read, "For truth and justice," "Yesterday's impunity is the cause of today's injustice," "I don't forget, I demand justice," and many more. They also carried placards displaying the photographs of their executed or disappeared relatives during Pinochet's rule. "We march with the conviction that in Chile there is no truth or full justice," said Marcos Baraza, a member of the Communist Party of Chile. The police responded harshly, using tear gas and water jets against the protesters and arrested at least a dozen people. The march was organized by various social and human rights organizations, such as the Association of Relatives of Disappeared Detainees, the Association of Relatives of Executed Political Prisoners, the Chilean Commission on Human Rights, and the Communist Party, among others. Every year, these organizations organize the march on the weekend before the anniversary of the coup. That's all we have for this episode of the International Daily Roundup. To read more about these stories, visit our website, peoplesdispatch.org, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching.